but I never knew before I meditated that the ego is very strong and that you need to get your awareness above your ego in order to have the entrance to whatever lays within you, because whatever lays within you is very much protected by you. Hi guys, welcome back on my YouTube channel. MeHeRe, for those of you who haven't heard of it, is my new business baby, and I am just happy that you're back here or that you tuned in for the first time. If it's your first time here, hi, I'm Lena. A couple of you might already know how much meditation actually means to me, so how long I already practice meditation. These are all kind of topics that we will cover today. So let's just dip right into it. So first of all, I know a lot of people already tried meditation. There's a big hype on meditation. And to be honest, I understand why there's such a hype, because I'm one of the supporters as well. I will tell you a little bit how I got even into meditation, what are the benefits of meditation, what are my personal experiences with meditation. There is no professional knowledge behind this. It's just like what I experienced, so please keep that in mind. How did I even found my meditation? I just noticed that within life I wasn't happy with the kind of waves that I was going through emotionally. I had very big highs and very big lows. So I went from a very happy moment, all of a sudden I had this drop and I went into depression, anxiety, I had a panic attack in public, and I think that made me aware, okay, hang on a second, you need to stop here and you need to change something drastically in your life, because this is not how you want to live your life. One book that I found was Eckhart Tolle, Stillness Speaks, which is beautiful. It tells you how actually within a moment of silence, how you can connect to yourself rather than just letting your ego just managing everything within your life. And this is something why I actually do meditation, because my ego led me to having panic attacks, led me to have depression, to suffer from depression, as well as just facing emotional up and downs. So I would even say that as more as you get rid of your ego, and the more, so if this is the ego, and however, like as bigger as the ego is, the lower your awareness is. If you start meditating, you start connecting to your inner self. So what happens is, in the beginning, your mind is very much dominated by your ego, and your ego is giving you thoughts, and your ego is telling you, do this, okay, next I want food, I'm hungry. You will have a lot of thoughts. However, there will be a moment where the awareness, because through breathing exercise, through whatever guided meditation tells you to do, to just slow down, you will automatically become on one level with your ego. And from that moment on, if you keep practicing, like this ego, the ego is so willing, guys, it's so willing to fight for whatever. It will push you and it will punish you with thoughts, and you will think you can't meditate. But what you actually need to get through is to the moment where they are equal, and you need to get your awareness higher than your ego. What then starts is actually that you distance yourself from your ego, and you can recognize your ego. From the moment you are just a little bit higher than your ego, you start recognizing when it's your ego that hits your actions, that hits your awareness, or when it's your sense, when it's yourself that actually is so kind, it's such a nice human, and it's such a strong human. However, your ego is the whole time just like fighting and being violent and being dominant and wanted to be dominant. But as soon as you raise your awareness, guys, the ego slowly, like it takes time, like how I'm demonstrating it shows, or it seems like I want to convince you that just with one meditation you get there, that your awareness gets higher than your ego. Does not. It takes a little bit of practice, but as any other skill, guys, meditation is something you can learn. But I never knew before I meditated that the ego is very strong and that you need to get your awareness above your ego in order to have the entrance to whatever lays within you, because whatever lays within you is very much protected by you. So when you let your ego, when you let your thoughts dominate whatever actions you actually do, when it's your ego that is deciding on everything, whatever you do, it is always feeding your ego. And that's why I even decided that my ego never made me happy, guys. I try to have the nicest clothes, I try to have the nicest, most amazing friends, I try to have it's just like all materialistic. Your ego is a very materialistic thinking personality. So and it always wants you to, there's like this feeling of a gap within you, there's a hole within you, and as long as your ego is on top, you try to fill it with external things because your ego tells you to, and you start maybe, for example, eating, or you feel like you need to stop eating because your ego tells you your body is out of shape, you are in comparison to other people, you do not look great, and that's your ego that tells you the whole time these kind of things. So the more you actually settle down your ego, you take away whatever the ego, whatever you can feed the ego, so whatever your ego tells you, if you stop believing your ego, you feed it. So but when you stop believing your ego, when you realize whatever your ego is telling you and you stop feeding it, it goes down and it goes down and it goes down, and it becomes, you can't take it away completely, but you can pull it down, pull it down, pull it down, and your awareness goes up. And the longer and the more you meditate, guys, the longer you will have, or the more you will have access to the awareness rather than your ego. Or if, and that's what I am at right now, I feel when my ego comes up. I feel it in the moment. I let it come up, I let it come up, but when it's there, I pull up the scale of my awareness and I look at my own ego. And I just tell my ego to literally fuck off. Sorry, just not swearing on this channel. So, so yeah, I tell my ego to go away. Just like, or if it is a very strong egoistic moment, I just let it rise. My awareness is here, my awareness is seeing it, my awareness is evaluating it, and my awareness is reflecting on it. So that's where I am at right now. So yeah, but it's just your ego that stops you from actually being successful in your meditation, because it gets punished, it gets fighted by your awareness. But once you get at this level and your awareness is stronger than your ego, you're fine. From there you can go and you will feel such a relief. Just believe me, letting go of your ego and becoming aware and becoming on, like being able to be on top of your ego. Wow, guys, from that moment on, your life becomes beautiful, you become more happy, you see the beauty of life, you have so much more access to whatever is within you. It's not that whatever comes externally, what's told from society, how you need to look, like different beauty, how do you say that, characteristics, you just basically, you start not caring about the things so much, and that's why your stress level just slows down. Your stress level becomes very, very little, and whenever you feel like you are stressed or you are challenged, your awareness is there and you can make use of it. Life becomes more easy now, more vibrant, more aligned with whatever is inside of you. But as long as your ego is there and your ego is pushing and you keep feeding your ego with whatever you do in life, as long as you listen to your ego and as long as you cannot differentiate between yourself and your ego, life will be tough and life will seem very exhausting. Life will seem like you never get anywhere. You always need to reach higher, you need to get better, you need to put more effort in, and you need to exhaust yourself more. You become so stressed. Like, letting go of your ego is the biggest secret of being less stressed, facing less depression, facing less negativity. And because your ego, and or why your ego actually makes you so negative or influences you so negatively, There's a whole another series I think I will do. During meditation, you basically learn how to sit with your own thoughts. And in the beginning, your thoughts will be very much dominated by your ego. So those are the thoughts that pretend to be very harmful and very negative. And a lot of pain that we experience throughout life is actually still present within our thoughts, within our actions, within our memory, within our mind, because of the ego. So because the ego the ego is very much fed by negative experiences, and especially negative emotions, and also suffering, pain, harm. Those are kind of nutritions for the ego. So however, I also need to include here that your mind can be so much stronger. When you get to the moment where your awareness rises above ego, your mind actually starts to realize how strong your mind can be, and your mind can be stronger than your ego. Your mind is not your ego, and your ego is not your mind. Those are two different things. When you do meditation, you need to learn how to sit with your own thoughts. In the beginning, your thoughts will be very painful because your ego will still be present, and your ego will try to stay present. So it will try to keep you in a very negative, very busy, very loud mind. And your ego will keep thinking, and there will be thoughts in your mind. And that's normal. That's very normal, because we never were taught to actually let go of our ego. We just kept feeding our ego, and we are actually living in very well ego feeding societies in the Western world. Capitalism is, I think, a resume out of the ego, or other way around, the ego is a resume out of the capitalism. So either way, capitalism is not the best friend of our mind and our inner sense, actually. So yeah, the capitalism and also materialism is there because of your ego. So that's one thing, and that's why your mind keeps it busy, and we never learned how to just make our minds slow down in the Western world. Because if we would slow down our mind, as I said before, your ego would become calmer. You would not respond on the things that capitalism actually wants from you. It wants you to buy, it wants you to purchase, it wants you to have, and it wants you to achieve, it wants you to have money. Money is connected to achievement, and it wants you to always go, 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 go. We are constantly living in a circle of go. And right now, with even the virus and needing to stay home, we are actually forced to reverse. And that's why I think a lot of people, even now and also in the beginning especially, struggle to find their own routine and just find their new kind of life, because what has been taken is the go, go, go. And I think that's also why so many people are still doing their weekly shoppings, or they do not do only weekly shoppings, they do shoppings of food every single day, or any necessities, because that's one way of living still the go, go, go life. So yeah, by slowing down with meditation, it is actually completely against the kind of world we are living in the Western world, with materialism and capitalism. And I think that's also why it has been hidden and kept hidden from us for so long. And that's also the reason why I personally think that we are not taught to meditate or to sit with ourselves, because that would make the ego actually go away, or at least to become smaller and more silent and calmer. So we would act in a complete different way, and we are actually, with our ego, we are very much controllable. people can manipulate us and people can actually control our behavior through the mind, and they can predict certain behavior. Whereas when there's no ego, you become yourself. You become so individual that there's no power out there that can actually control you. And I think that's the biggest fear that society, all people especially who are in power, also government, are afraid of. They are afraid that we lose our ego and that our truest self becomes more powerful, because in the moment that your truest self becomes awakened, you become uncontrollable, you become free. You are such a free spirit, something that cannot be predicted. Any of your actions cannot be predicted. However, you would actually be a better person if you would be yourself. I believe highly in that. You would be such a more compassionate and kind and loving person.
So, and here we are. I forgot to film an outro, but thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you're doing fine. Stay safe with your loved ones, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.